Alright, this is part 3 on the Fanuc CNC control. I'm going to discuss how to do offsets. Now we're trained in here in Haas machines, so we have to do a couple more steps on the Fanuc control. So if you need to load tools, we don't have a ATC tool change button. You actually have to program it through the MDI screen. Here's the program right here. And I'm going to type in T1 M6 end of block input. And let me go back to here again, program. I'm going to redo that again. T1 M6 end of block input. There it is right there. So now if I go back to program, oh, wrong one. MDI screen, program. Here's our program. Just do cycle start, and that changes the tools. So you can load all the tools in one by one, and then go to the next one. Just go to, whoops, hit reset. We'll type in T2 M6 end of block input, cycle start, and that changes. T3 alter, put an M6 in there, end of block input, cycle start again. You can keep on loading tools like that. Alright, once all the tools are loaded, we can do setting tool offsets and work offsets. So I would start with work offset first. So if I had my like a drill chuck and tool 9, I'd have the call up tool 9. Let's see, M06 end of block alter. Here we go. Cycle start. Next thing I have to do is set the RPM, because this will be no probe. So I can hit a couple of deletes here, and I'm going to type in M03 for clockwise, and I'm going to set it at S1000 RPM. Input, cycle start. Nope, I did not end my end of block. So reset, program, delete, M03 S1000 end of block input, and now cycle start. And the spin will be running. So I would now switch to offset, work offset, handle jog, x-axis, meet large button, and then start cranking. So I'm going to switch this to the all screen, so I got a relative coordinates there. And I move it over, get it close, bring down the z-axis, and I'll edge find. So I'll put it in 1,000 increments and move it to the right a little bit. And if I'm happy with that one, I'm in the x-axis, moving it slowly. And what I want to do is update my G54, which is right here. So there's my relative number. This, you can convert this from metric, but it'll end up being that number right there. Make sure these are 0 when you start off with. Alright, so now we got to set this coordinate. I'm going to go to operator screen, and I'm going to type in X measure. Format error. I saw somebody else do that. So I really need that number right there. I'm going to show you the other methods. I'm going to type in -15.3527 and hit the input button. Input is a preset button. Input plus will add or subtract. Let me see if I can get this measure button to work. If I do measure X, I saw somebody else do that. Let me set one of these other coordinates. Format error. Okay. How about X measure? That doesn't do it either. Okay. That's fine. All right, so I got my X coordinate. I'm going to move my handle X, big number. I'm going to move it away in the X, and I'll move it in the Y coordinate. I'll be moving to the back side of the part. Maybe adjusting the Z a little bit. I'll go to the Y-axis. I'll be in 1,000th mode. I'll slowly bring it in until it kicks off. And now I want my Y-axis. So So I need this number right here. So I want to measure. I'm going to do input, which would be minus 10.4589. Input. Now my habit is adjusting these afterwards using the input plus button. So once I got the numbers right, and I would set these and adjust on each one as I go. If I'm starting from the X negative side, like if you're doing edge finder here, and you're doing left side of the part, and you're shifting it this way, I would have to shift this by the radius of the edge finder. And say I was using a 1/2 inch edge finder, so I'm going to put in 0.250 input plus. Gives me a second chance to hit execute. That is now adjusted. And say I was doing this corner here and I was edge finding and I was shifting in this direction. That's a negative shift. So I'm going to go negative 0.250 input plus. Okay, execute. That's now adjusted. Some other ones will use the relative screen and re-zero and re-shift, but I like doing the edge find, get the number, and do the math to shift it. All right, so that'll do X and Y. Now Z we'll deal with later because it really depends on how you set your tools. So if I call up my tools one by one, I'd have to start from MDI, go to my program screen, right? I'm gonna delete all these, and I'm gonna call up my first tool, which would be tool 1, M06, end of block input, cycle start. Then I'm going to get my tool and I'm going to be manually adjusting my tools. And if I use my 1, 2, 3 block or my 0 set tool, I'll bring the tool down on top of this, which means I'm going to be an offset tool right here. And I'm really using the machine coordinate numbers, but I have my relative screen set to that. So I'm going to move the tool over to where the tool setter is. So I'll do handle, big number, X, move the X axis, move the Y axis, and then start bringing the Z axis down. And when I get close, I'm going to switch to 1,000th, bring it down, and when that thing touches off, I need that number there. So I'm going to press the operator screen, and we're going to put input coordinate. So notice it didn't update. So we do Z input C, and that updated now. So I always set all these as I go. Now as far as the method of using a 2-inch block and adding and subtracting, I'll get into that part later, but for now we're just going to accept the number we get on this. So I will go back to MDI, program, this program, then I'll go change my tool again. I go T2, M6, end of block input, cycle start, right? And then I'll go back to my offset page, go down to my next tool, handle jog Z, bigger number, bring that one down, 1,000th when I get closer. Looks good. Operator screen. I'm going to do Z input coordinate. Matches. Okay. Now to get safely home, if I do reference Z and press the Z, I'll go right to home. Then I go back to MDI, program, get the next tool, tool 3, M6, end of block input. Cycle start again. Tool is now changed. Go back to offset, handle, Z, big number, bring that one down. Go to 1,000th, get closer. Make sure you're on the number 3. Hit operator screen, Z, input C. Now those are all updated. I'm going to do reference return Z and hit the plus button. That's all homed out. So I did work coordinate, Z coordinate. So in this scenario, if I do the offsets, work offsets, the Z0 we're assuming we're touching off the top of the part. But we could do other scenarios in order